Okay, good morning. Welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today we're finishing the fifth parak of Masechah Shabbos. We're starting the sixth parak of Masechah Shabbos. Wow, these parakim are really small. When you do the Gemara, you don't realize how small they are. The Sofu Mishnayos. Uh, One of the first Masechahs when I was becoming from, I learned Masechah Shabbos. I don't know why I took Masechah Shabbos on myself, but I intended to learn it, and it's the second longest Masechah and very hard Masechah to learn because as these Mishnayos make clear, the translations are very hard. Some of the Gemaras, you have to really need an art scroll just for simple explanation. But I made a siyum Masech Shabbos. I made a big siyum in a shul in Hillcrest, in Queens, where I grew up. Um, I made it after a shul on Shabbos morning. I felt very proud of myself. And my father made a big kiddush, cholent and kugel. We even had challah rolls there. You could wash over there. I remember from that Shabbos, I had some guy over that was trying to Makariv, trying to get a ticket to Olam Haba. I was into Kiruv. When I becoming from at the beginning, like you're like, wow, this is the truth. You want to bring other people along. So I had this guy, like, his Nebuch case. I used to take to the house, because my chesed, I want to do on Kariv him or whatever. So we were commenting that we had four sudas that Shabbos. There's an opinion in Shabbos that you're supposed to have not just three sudas. Rabbi Chidka says four sudas in Shabbos. So we had challah rolls at the Kiddush. Then we came home and had another meal with challah. And then we had shalashidus. So we were kind of that, which was nice. But Rabbi Chidka is an opinion of Shabbos. But anyway, I have Masechah Shabbos with all of my explanations. I used to write, just translations on top of the words. I also used to write some of my chidushim. Even when I first started learning Gemara, I always felt this intrinsic need to be machadesh. But that was Masechah Shabbos for me. I think it was the second or third Masechah, one of the first Masechahs that I learned. People were shocked that I finished a big Masechah, but I did it, and I was happy, and it gave me the power to go on and learn Nashim and Ezekiel and harder Masechahs. So, Mishnah Daled says, "Ein Chamr Yosef Mardas B'zman She'enak Shrulo." A donkey should not go out with a saddle if it's not tied to before Shabbos. If you tie it before Shabbos, because like we mentioned yesterday, if you don't tie it until Shabbos starts, you might lean on the animal. Therefore, they said better not to tie it. Zug, aval pishu pakok. You can't go out. Some animals used to wear a bell, so you know where they're walking. Remember the pictures of the cow with a bell. Even if it's pakok, I mean, you put some cotton inside so it won't ring. It wears the bell. It looks like you're going to the shuk. It looks like you're doing financial. Uh, the whole purpose of Shabbos is to get away from finances, and you're doing things like you're going to the shuk to sell your cow or to, I don't know what you're going to do in the shuk, but you shouldn't be doing that on Shabbos. V'lo b'sulam Shabbos havaro. You're also not allowed to put, it was type of a ladder, but it's really like branches around the neck of a cow or something like that, where it has a makkah, where it has, and you don't want it to. It's like when a person puts on what are those things called you put around the neck when a person doesn't want to move. You get an injury to the spine or something like that, or the neck. I forget what it's called. You put this like hard material around the neck, like a circle thing, a collar or something like that. Around the neck shouldn't move. You shouldn't do that with your animal. But sorry, also Ratua Shebaraglo, if it has a makkah, it has a wound on its raglayim, you also when they walk and the animal's feet walk together, you'd put like a ring around so they shouldn't smash into each other. Also chickens shouldn't go out with identification. Uh, Identification, they used to tie, a string with numbers around the chicken. I think they still do. To identify and also sometimes they would tie down the legs of the chicken with each other, so they shouldn't go so far. Similarly, male rams shouldn't go out with an agala. They used to have tail, so they would put like sort of like a little wagon underneath the tail, so it shouldn't get hurt, ruin the tail. Female shib yotzos chanunos, they can't go out. Female shib can't go out chanunos. That means we used to put some wood in the nose of the female sheep, so the taloim, I don't know, they had worms in their noses, should come out. A calf shouldn't go out with gimon, which is a piece of rubber around its neck, which prepares it when it grows older to have a yoke. Below paraba or a kupar, again, you should have a cow going out with. You used to put a piece of leather that had points in it, had needles in it, so that shkotzim, so that little bugs shouldn't attack the and ruin the udders of the cow. A little bit too shaben karnel. Also, you shouldn't have a piece of cloth tied between the horns of the cow. Whether it was for noise to look nice, or whether it was to be shomer, you wanted to attach a rope to hold it, because that's called in tirusi yisera. So the Gemara says it's extra. Cows don't run away. You don't need to put it over there. It wasn't exactly his cow; it was his neighbor's cow, but he didn't protest, so therefore it was called his cow. They didn't agree with it. They held you're not allowed to go out with that. That's the end of Parak K. Parak Vav, Mishnah Aleph. What is a woman allowed to go out with? What is she not allowed to go out with? We're talking about a man and a woman. We're talking about people. What are they allowed to carry? Women tie their hair in ponytails. You can't tie your hair in ponytails on Shabbos. Now, with made out of wool, or is made out of linen, flax, or made out of any material, you can't go out, because you have to take them out when you go to the mikvah. And if you go to the mikvah, right, you might not put it back on. You're going to carry Dal Namas B'Shus Harabim. Obviously, we're talking about they're going to the mikvah, then they're probably married ladies. So how are their hair uncovered? Well, I'll talk about this, because this is a big topic that comes out from these sugyas about whether a woman cover their hair or not. Again, this is a halacha about tzvila, right? Which is the basis for the previous halacha. You have to take them off so the water gets in and touches all of a woman's hair. A totefes is sort of a tzitz, I don't know, a plate they wore around their forehead. I think maybe a headband would be a better explanation. And it has, sometimes the headbands have strings coming down from it, or designs on them. It's manshein on tfurim, when they're not sewed on to a hat that they're wearing. If they're wearing a hat, then if they're wearing a headband loose, then it's going to come off and they're going to carry down sharabim. A little bit kavol or sharabim, they shouldn't go out with a kavol. This is a type of head covering, a type of mitznefet, a type of turban, or a type of hat, maybe a headscarf. Below be'ir shal zav, now with an ear shal zav, which basically I think is a necklace with, made out a golden necklace, let's say, with a picture of Yerushalayim on it. A lot of women here in Israel have pictures of the Kosel on their necklaces. Below bekatla, now with a choker necklace. All these things are things that either they hurt or you want to show them off to people, so therefore you might carry them. And the Zamim, Rav Avadia Bartanura says, talking about nose rings. I don't know too many women, Jewish women, that wear nose rings. He says earrings you could go out with. I would say it even refers to earrings you're not supposed to go out with. Rosh Harabim, Velo b'tabash ein ala chosam. Also a ring that doesn't have a chosam. Now chosam, most people translate it as a signet ring. People used to have rings and they used to, put their signature with the ring. I would say there's two types of ring. There's rings with a setting, like a diamond ring with a setting, and then there's like a wing that you give for for the nisuin, for the marriage. You're not supposed to have any stones on it. Tabash ein ala chosam. You shouldn't go out with that. It's only the rabbanon. It's like zera. You might take it off. Because it's not so valuable, and put it in your pocket. Also, sometimes women, they tie their hair with needles, right? Pins and needles in their hair to make a certain bun or something like that. If it doesn't have a hole in it, it doesn't stay fast and it's going to fall out. All these things are only gzera derabanan. Either you're going to take it into your hand and not put it back in your hair. If it's in your hair, it's a tachshit. It's something which adorns you. It's an accessory. It makes you look better. So it's not a must. However, if you carry them, even unknowingly, if you do it by mistake, you're chayav achata. So therefore, the gzer derabanan shouldn't carry them sharabim. They didn't allow these accessories to be worn by women on Shabbos. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in Iyam Mitzion. We'll discuss the last Mishnah in Parakeh.